Hi everyone, it's me, Christina, and this is the Rooted and Grounded podcast. It's episode 1, and I'm so glad that you guys have found yourself here. I am with my dear friend Lenore Mikey for my first episode. She is somebody who I did my show with, and she's a multifaceted businesswoman. She's also an incredible mother. And sitting down with her here today, is something that I feel as if was very fitting for my show because I want real, I want authentic, I want no filter. I just want to hear like what you have to say, and that's you. You just say it as it is. And so, Lenore, how are you feeling being here today?
Babes, I'm incredibly proud of you. I'm incredibly honored. Um, it's so lovely to sit here with you and just chat. And this is your baby. This is your podcast. And I'm honored to be your first guest. So, from my side, I just want to say congrats to you. I'm super, super proud of you. And it's just going to be amazing.
Thank you. And Lenore, how do you feel now, that we're done with filming? Filming is over, and you know, episodes have come out, and it's almost like Thursdays won't be Thursdays anymore, but will it? Like every Thursday we know that a new episode is coming out. So it's not going to be like that anymore. How do you feel now compared to before you started the show? Like how have Thursdays been for you? For me, it has been quite like every Wednesday, I'm like, okay, tomorrow is going to be wild. My phone is going to go off the charts. So, how has it been for you?
That Wednesday, Thursday story, I think only when you're in it and you realize
Yeah.
exactly what happens, your
Mm.
emotions go up, your
Yeah.
anxiety levels go up. But
Yeah.
for me personally, before I started with the show,
Mm.
I was Lenore.
Yes.
And while I was shooting and doing the show, I remained Lenore.
Yeah.
And when we finished filming, I'm still Lenore. So there was Lenore
Yes.
prior to the show, and there's
Mm-hmm.
Lenore after the show. The filming aspect of it was amazing. It was an incredible opportunity. I think it was the first time all of us experienced something like that. Um, New experiences are sometimes also challenging. So I think one has to take the positive out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Did we go onto the show and do what we set out to do? For myself, absolutely yes. I am
Yeah.
100% grateful and happy for the opportunity that we had. Have I learned anything from it? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. But
So what is it? What is it that you've learned from it?
well, firstly, before I speak about what I've learned from it, for me, going
Mm.
on to the reality TV series was to bring awareness about chronic illnesses, specifically
Yeah.
invisible chronic illnesses that people
Yeah.
live with. I wanted to speak and get a platform for mental health and wellness because that is very
Yes.
close to me, very close to my heart.
Yes.
And then I also want to obviously bring in the business aspect, women trying to go in business or start up businesses, and then also to normalize family. Families are
Yes.
so different, and
Mm.
what your interpretation of a family is may be different to somebody else's interpretation of what a family is. So
Yeah.
for me, it was important for us to be given that platform to be authentic and to just go and speak about who we are, what we do as mothers, as wives, as businesswomen, aspiring businesswomen. So
Yes.
yeah, and then what did I learn from the show? Being your true authentic self is everything, because that is who you are in front of a camera, off the camera. I thought I had a thick skin, but it taught me that my skin is not as thick as I thought it is. But you know what? These are experiences that
Why?
one
Why
goes
would
through.
you? Why would you say that? Like, why would you say that you your skin is not as thick as you thought it was? Because I remember as well. Like, I was also like I was with you at certain times, and I saw like you you felt deeply whiplashed, I would say
Yeah.
sometimes, and it like took you by shock. And I saw that, and I think I never expected you being the way that you are and the way that you come across to be as hurt sometimes.
Yeah.
as you were?
Um, I've learned through the years to be strong, to be a strong person, to have that thick skin, and not let every single comment offend me or pull me down and that. But at the end of the day, I'm a human being, and I have a
Yeah.
heart. And sometimes in life, you would want people to sort of treat you the way you treat them, or
Yeah.
be mindful of what they say to you, like how you would be trying be mindful to somebody else. So some things did shock me.
I
And
think
that's why I
not
say my skin
only,
wasn't as
yeah,
thick as I thought it was.
yeah, I think not only mindful of what they say to you, because I think sometimes people are very mindful of what they say to people, but behind their backs is a different story.
I think that's what
And
makes it more hurtful
I and
behind the
I
back.
I think so because I personally didn't have that much of a close relationship with everyone, but you did. And I think a lot of the time, it took you by surprise because knowing you for as long as I know you now and as deep as I know you, I know that your heart is a soft, soft, soft heart. And, um, I've watched your heart break and I
But
have, yes,
it's okay. It's okay, and that's why for me, having a support structure.
yeah,
I'm blessed with my husband. I'm blessed with
yes,
my children, and I'm blessed with friendships. I mean, you and I
yes,
have got such a beautiful and amazing and wholesome friendship. Do you know what I
yes,
mean? One is able to pick up the phone and, hey, babe, how are you? And you're
yes,
able to offload, and
yes,
that's what it's all
yeah.
about. Being able to have a safe space where
A
you
safe
feel
space,
that you can
yes,
just be you, authentically you. So
yes,
we're human beings. We
mm,
have a heart, and our
yeah,
heart goes through those emotions. And for as strong as a person may look and carry themselves and try and be, absolutely, at the end of the day, we are still human beings, and we do have hearts, and they
yes.
do get hurt.
Yes, I agree with you. And I think that, I mean, especially because being on the show, like I know that a lot of like we went things happened really fast, like one
Hmm.
after the other. Like things were happening one after the other. And sometimes you don't get time to breathe or think. And then when you're watching the whole thing again, then you just tend to be like you think to yourself, like, wow, this is something. And so what has shocked you the most on the show? Like what was the most shocking thing that shocked you on our show?
I think just when I thought people were a certain type, and then only to realize that what they presented to me was not exactly who they were. So that was a little bit disappointing for me. Yeah, I think that was it really. It would just be nice that who you saw was who you saw.
Yeah.
I would have appreciated that, but
Yeah.
to each their own.
Yeah, to me, what like I felt as if, we had a lot of moments between the both of us that were not fully put out there. Like it was sometimes very heartfelt moments that were
Yeah.
not put out there, nobody saw. But I think in its entirety, with what you also started with, is that, you came onto the show and like we formed a connection with one another. And when we did, then that's where it all started for us. And I think that, when I spoke to you, um, I spoke to you for a long time and I mentioned to you, I had a health scare. And then I mentioned to you, when Jordan was born, I also like had a period of time where it was just me alone. So it was very sad. It was like a sad time. And I think that knowing all of this and knowing that, you had that conversation with me, um, how did you feel about it?
For me, it was that you dared to be your authentic self. Like even our friendship, when you speak about it, we had wholesome moments. Yes, maybe everything can't be captured, right? We only have a
Yeah.
set amount of time, but it's what's also captured but not there, and what happens off camera as well. So we dared to be our authentic selves, and we brought our guards down. and we just had authentic
Yes. We
conversation
did.
between the two of us, and that's where we really got to feel each other and connect.
Mm.
And that connection is what's so important, because
Yes.
mine was not a place of judgment, yours was
Yes.
not a place of judgment. We
Yes.
were just there to converse with each other. And
Yes.
for
Yes.
me, that's where the connection was, that we were able to speak and feel free to speak to each other
Mm.
about what it is that we were going through or have been through. And we
Yes.
connected on that level because
Mm.
people go through similar stuff. It's just that we
Definitely.
don't talk about it.
I think after that episode, I don't know if you got the same responses that I got, but I got a lot of um, women and also people in general reaching out to me and telling me like, this is what I've been experiencing, and thank you for putting this out there because I feel as if I can speak about it now. And I got many, many messages like that, and a lot of people that were just saying to me, thank you so much for putting that on the show so that I could know that I'm not alone and to know that this actually happens to other people. And I think that it needs to be normalized because people don't talk about things enough. And I think that if people did talk about what they truly go through and their vulnerable moments, like, of course, some things are a moment in time, some pain, like, it doesn't last forever, but to share it, it doesn't take away from you. Like, it doesn't take anything away from you to be able to share yourself in a certain way at a certain time so that others don't feel alone.
Exactly.
And I do feel as if yes we did, like, yes, there was a lot of negatives around sometimes the show, but for me, after we had that episode together, it was really positive, it was really uplifting. I felt really like blessed to know that so many people would have like they actually thought like I can actually let me speak to Christina. So they have messaged me, and I've spoken to a lot of people, and that's why I thought it would be so amazing to normalize things like this because the second you say that I'm not feeling well, or I'm feeling sad right now, I'm feeling depressed right now, I have a health scare, then you get people and women actually in society that they weaponize it and they use it to destroy one another and to gossip and to create slander, and then that's not what we want to achieve. We want to achieve really a safe space for people, because remember when, like, I don't know if you're okay with talking about this, when you told me about Mia's friend. Mia's friend that Mia had a close friend and he ended up, taking his life, and it really affected Mia because Mia was so close to this friend of hers. And you always felt a deep regret all the time because you felt like, you know what, like, I'm doing this for him. That's what you said. You said, I'm doing this for him. This is for him because I don't want this to happen to anyone else. And if anything, do you feel that you going onto the show that you have accomplished that?
I 100% feel that I've accomplished what I wanted to go onto the show for. The different awarenesses that I just spoke about.
Yes.
And then also, you also said you made the profound word you used was to normalize things.
Yes.
It's okay not to be okay. And people go through trials and tribulations. That's part of life. You have the wonderful things that happen to you, all the amazing things, all well and good. But sometimes that's all we see. And we
Yes.
tend to think that that's how people's lives are.
When it never is. It
There are the
never
trial
ever
and
is.
tribulations that
Yes.
people go through. And I
Yes.
think we need to start normalizing speaking what it is that we go through. Like you said, you had people that reached out to you. How amazing is that? That through you
Yes.
being vulnerable and speaking
But
about
to the
what it
both
is
of
that you're
us,
going
remember on the
through.
comment sections,
Yeah,
there were
yeah,
so many people that were tagging us. And they were
absolutely.
like, Lenore and Christina, you guys gave me an opportunity to feel like I can talk about this. And they would actually put it out there and they would say, I'm going
Exactly.
through this. Like,
Exactly.
I'm experiencing this. And a lot of people actually, we filmed and then it came out months later. And so I was really just, obviously I've healed and I went, it was a long time from then, but people were checking on me. Like everyone was checking on me. And I thought this was actually amazing.
Amazing.
But the both of us, like, we were constantly being tagged, like, thank you, Lenore, thank you, Christina, like, thank you for having this conversation, because we all
Absolutely.
go through this. And like you said, it's easy to dress up and go out and pretend that life is perfect. That's an easy thing to do. Anyone can do it. Everybody does it. Like, even with social media these days and things like that, it's like people paint a certain picture that most of the time doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can be bold enough sometimes to step out of that and say, I'm going to, speak about things that actually could help other people, because I've been through it. And I know you also said, like, when I went through it, I felt really like I wish I had a me in my life, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I wish I had a Lenore in my life when I was going through what I was going through. So you said, I'm going to be that person. Remember, you were like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be that person. So people feel like I have taken my story and I put it out there. Was it how did you feel like being so vulnerable like that? Was it the first time that you were so vulnerable like that? Like, have you spoken that openly about things before, or was this the first time?
I've spoken openly about it before, not many occasions, on a few occasions, but to a select few people. So I didn't go and put it out there for the nation to hear about. So
Yeah,
obviously that was me taking a leap of faith and trusting
yeah,
in God and saying, God, you know my intention. You know
yeah,
why it is that I'm wanting to do what I'm doing, because you've presented this opportunity, this platform. Let me use it for the positivity that I feel and for the awareness that it can bring. And it was daunting. It was emotionally challenging, but I kept reminding myself there's a purpose for this. There's a bigger purpose for this. And for those very messages that you spoke about, the DMs that we received, people tagging us in messages, for a person to reach out to you and say, Lenore, for example, I won't disclose the person's name, but for one message, just one out of the many that we
yeah,
received, one message to say, you saved my life.
yes,
Because I was
yes,
going through this, and it's life is so hard, life is so challenging, and I've been diagnosed with this and this and this. But watching you guys on screen and see what you've gone through has made me rethink about me questioning myself whether life is worth living anymore. I mean, for somebody to have that type of conversation with themselves, to say through watching you on TV, I've taken a step back to say, no, I am going to try and live life. I am going to give it a second shot. I am going to carry on despite all the challenges that I'm going through or the diagnosis that I've been received. I'm going to persevere.
mm-hmm.
And for me, that was very, very important. You mentioned, yes, we had somebody very special in our lives that unfortunately isn't here anymore because life became tough. Like life became too hard and society became too judgmental where they just felt that they couldn't cope anymore. And for me, it's a thing of promoting empathy. We need to be more empathetic human beings. We need to be kinder. We need to be a little bit more gentle. We still need to be firm and be our truth and also say, no, you're not going to do this or that to me. You're not going to
Yeah,
speak to me that way, but also take a step back and reevaluate situations sometimes and say what you need to say, but maybe say it in a different way so that it hits home a little softer, it
yes,
hits home a little kinder to that
mm,
person. And then you also, who you're speaking to, how you say something to one person is a bit different to how you may say it to the next person. But I think it's the key about being empathetic, just being empathetic to what people go through and not being judgmental because you don't know what the person is going through. You just don't know.
so okay. I think I wanted to talk about, there was a whole thing of, you did the show, and while you were doing the show, um, you have a condition called fibromyalgia that you deal with on a daily basis. It's
Mm.
not something like the flu that you can take a Panado and tomorrow it's gone. And you showed up for certain everything. You showed up for everything. And there was a certain time where, you put a lot of glitter on your eyes, and like everyone knew what it was that you were going through. And I wanted to ask you about that. Like, why was it that you wore? Why was it that you wore that much, like, makeup, and you did that, and did people know about it? Because I know personally there were times where you were really suffering on sets, and you had to just, you decided, no matter how much I'm like, no matter how sick I am right now and how much like it's showing, I'm going to put my makeup on and I'm going to go on. And there were certain times where you asked to even wear your glasses and things like that. So I just wanted to ask you about that. Yeah.
So, yeah, so the condition I live with is fibromyalgia. I was diagnosed 19 years ago with fibromyalgia. It's an autoimmune condition that at the moment doesn't have a cure. There is no cure for it. And the medication that's used to treat fibromyalgia, I'm allergic to. So I've been a guinea pig for the last 19 years. I know there was comments about Lenore playing victim to the condition, or she's looking for sympathy kind of thing. That's not what I'm doing at all. The reality is, as you've said, there is no medication that I can take, a Panado or something that I can take I'll just be fine. It's a condition that affects every single part of my body, including falling out hair or thinning hair, including blow ups with my skin, flare ups with my skin. It affects
So
the joints
I
in
heard
my
that your
body.
your eyes were like inflamed.
So what happened was,
Yeah.
my skin was sort of okay when we started filming. And as we got into more and more filming, the flare ups started, the fibromyalgia flare ups, and anything triggers fibromyalgia. It can be stress, it can be weather, it can be subconsciously you're stressed or you're anxious. It shows up in your body, and it could show up through your hair falling, your skin getting inflamed, you're going into spasms. It could be anything. There's so many things that could happen. So for me, my skin started degenerating, if that's the correct word to use, while we were filming. My body started flaring up, my joints started, and I pitched up. I pitched up, but um it got to a point where my skin got so bad that after one of the episodes, I think it was where we were doing the filming of Kim's yoga episode on the pier, we were out for about 4 hours in the sun. And my skin took a beating. I had a cap on, I had shades on, I had put whatever I needed to put on, but my skin took a beating because I cannot be in direct sunlight like that. But I wanted to show up. I wanted to be there. So the result of that was my skin just flared up completely. I literally had blisters on my skin, within my eyes as well. And that's how fibromyalgia sometimes, it shows up on the body as well, not just on the face. It shows on the body, where I could also get like bluish spots or purplish spots on my body. It shows up in itself like that, but mine was mainly on my skin and in my hair. So you couldn't see it in my hair, but I had all these lumps in my hair and on my face. While we were filming, I had to leave, phone my doctor, go to the pharmacy, get steroid and cortisone injection, and then come back on set and boom. And then I covered up. I did explain to production what I was going through. They did see it, and they were very empathetic towards my situation and understood. So they allowed me to film with shades on sometimes.
Was it really bad?
It was bad. I've got pictures of how bad it was. I mean, it was oozing. It was literally like blisters, like pimples and blisters mixed, but they were oozing and they were in my eyes as well. So it looked as if somebody beat the hell out of me, literally in one of my eyes. It was almost shut. So I could not film that way. I obviously could not film without shades on, nor could I film without covering my. I was not comfortable. I'm being truthfully honest. I was not comfortable showcasing my skin, looking like the way that it was. I was already going through the most inside, trying to come to terms and be like, Lord, why is this happening to me now? Like, out of all the times that this could happen, why does it have to happen to me now? But I had to continue. I had to show up. So for me, I felt safe and I felt comfortable covering it up because I was not ready to expose to the whole nation.
No one is.
Exactly like what I
I
ended up
mean,
looking
if
like.
you
That was
have
hard for me.
blisters on your eyes and your eyes are oozing, and you absolutely, who would who would go on to TV like that? Who
I
would go
couldn't.
on like that?
I
Yeah.
absolutely couldn't. And that was and yes, some of our cast members were aware of what was going on with my skin because they saw it. They got to see it firsthand. So when we had one of the events where I had no choice but to go up absolutely full cover, not just full cover on my face, but full cover. I didn't even go for simple glitter. I went for the big glitter, the one that's the big, because that was the only thing that would cover the
Cover the
blisters that I had on my
blisters.
eyelid.
Oh
So
my god.
when you look at it, you think that I'm just fully glammed up.
Yeah.
Yes, I am, but it's covering so much. I mean, I had eyelashes on that was so long, and so they didn't feel comfortable on me. But I went with the extra long eyelashes to try and digress and take away from somebody, looking deep into my skin and seeing those lumps show through. So
Yes,
that's my
yes.
insecurity. Am I comfortable
I think
showcasing it yet?
I think it
No.
would be different if I think it would be different if somebody had a little bit of acne and they were like, I'm not comfortable with acne or pigmentation. But when it comes to having a full flare up and having your skin inflamed, your eyes filled with pus, like I don't think that anyone would show up on TV and show that on TV. Your rashes all over you. Like I don't think anyone would be able to do that. How do you deal with negative comments on social media?
Um, I think it's easier to say, I just ignore them and they don't affect me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but then I wouldn't be real if I was
Yeah.
saying that, because
Yeah.
negative comments do affect you. We're human beings, we have hearts and we have feelings. But it has taught me I don't have to respond to
Yeah.
everything that's out there, and I know my truth. So you could see a negative comment that really, you know what, you have the choice of responding or not responding, or letting it affect you to such an effect that it disrupts your thought process, it disrupts how your day is going to be, it sets your mood and tone for the day. You know your truth. I know my truth. I know who I am. I know what I'm about. And I've got to make sure that those negative comments, yes, you see them, but I ignore them. Do they sometimes hurt me? Of course they do. I'm a human being. But it's mind over matter. I have the choice in how I allow them to affect me, and I choose not to let them affect me negatively.
Okay. And have you ever responded to a negative comment?
I have responded to a negative comment, just because I felt at that point I needed to defend myself, if that's the correct word to use, or I
Yeah.
needed to correct something which
Like
was a
correct a
mistruth
narrative.
or a
Yeah.
narrative or something that was being put out there that was false.
Yeah.
So, just for my character and for the person that I am and me being truthful to who I am, not a long-winded response, just to say that that is nothing, or that is not me, that is not the entire truth, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Just a quick response, nothing deep. But sometimes it is good. Not all the time. Sometimes you've got to choose which ones you respond and you don't respond to. Most of them, 99.999% of them, don't bother, because you know that's not your truth.
Yeah.
But there are those few in between where I do need to respond to that, because I do feel a certain way about it. And sometimes silence means consent, depending on the situation. Sometimes silence can mean consent. So
No, I get where you're coming
just
from.
quickly put something out
Sometimes,
there to say,
yeah.
that's actually no.
Or like that's a lie. Like
That's a blatant
you're
lie. From
lying.
hell,
Yeah.
nip it in the
From
bud,
hell.
straight from the depths of hell.
Yeah.
Nip it in the
Like you're
bud, and it's
lying.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no, I agree with you.
Have you ever responded to comments?
Well, I think so. I probably have. I mean, I think throughout the show, I got a lot of. At one point, there were just a whole bunch of negative comments. Like as much as there were some positives, at certain points, like maybe the beginning of the show and such. Then I did I used to sometimes respond. I used to be like, what are you talking about? Because you know this, people see you on like people will see you on a show and think like they know everything
They know you.
like, you know, you like since you were born, like this is who you are. And like, I think sometimes like people would be, someone was like, oh, does she think she's famous? And then I'm like, go on to it.
Oh
Like,
my gosh, yeah.
so, okay, wait. What is some of the like craziest comments that you've gotten?
Um, whoa, wait. There was one, there was one where somebody said, imagine her lying or something. She said she didn't wear makeup for her, or she didn't, no, she didn't let her husband look at her face for a
Oh,
whole year or
yes,
something. And they
yes,
said,
yes.
shame, the poor husband.
Oh,
He
yes.
must be thinking, what is my wife doing? What is she saying about me? He
What?
must be his head in shame or something to that effect. And for me, that was like, number one, you don't know my husband. You don't know that that man is
Yeah,
my rock. He's my
yeah,
support structure. He's seen me through everything in my life. And it also was misconstrued in how that comment was put across. I didn't say he didn't look for me for an entire year. I would not
yeah.
go to bed with him awake with my makeup off. I would only remove my foundation when he
Once he
fell
was
asleep.
asleep.
I did that for
Oh, a
almost
whole
an entire
year.
year because I was just so insecure about what my
Yeah.
skin was going through at the time. And he would say to me, I love you regardless. It doesn't matter. I didn't
So it
feel
wasn't
comfortable.
him. It had nothing to do with him.
It
It
had
was,
absolutely
yes,
nothing to do
okay,
with him. He would
yes,
tell me all the time, babe, I love you. You are gorgeous the way you are. Like
yeah,
with your skin flare up, without your skin flare up.
yeah.
I married you for here, not for,
Mm.
you know?
Yes,
And
yes, yeah.
it had nothing to do with him. It was all about me. I needed to feel comfortable. And it took me a year to get to a space where I felt okay to remove everything with him still being awake.
But I've seen you without makeup.
You've
It's so
seen me without.
beautiful. Like,
Thank
I
you.
mean, it is,
Thank you. So
yeah, like,
since
yes.
shooting, I've been since filming, I mustn't say shooting,
And
since
you don't always wear
filming.
makeup.
No,
Like,
I don't always wear makeup. It
yeah,
depends on, so with the condition I have, today
yes,
my skin can be okay.
yes,
Tomorrow I can
yes,
wake up with a semi-closed eye and I
yeah,
can wake up with lumps all over my face. It just
yes,
depends on
yeah,
if I'm having a flare up or not, and I never know when it's going to happen. So
yes,
you take it day by day, literally.
yes. And okay, so give me another comment.
What was another comment? Oh, somebody made comments about I always wear sequins. So Lenore was a sequins person all the time. Lenore must learn to wear other things other than sequins. Listen, the background that I come from, the dancing, it's glitz and glamour.
Okay, yeah,
And most of our outfits are with some sort of element of sequins or bling and that's me. Like
yeah,
I'm comfortable showing up that way. So allow me to be me. I'm comfortable being me. It touched some people that I had sequins on yet again, but I'm comfortable with that.
yeah,
I'm comfortable being me, and
yeah,
call me the sequence queen. I'm cool with that. I'll wear that crown.
yeah. And for like, I think for me,
What was
uh,
it for you?
I don't know, like, to be very honest with you, I think there was a point where, okay, I didn't, like, I deleted Twitter and
Delete
then,
Twitter. You was like,
but
don't.
like just
I
delete Twitter, like,
guess,
don't look
yeah,
on
I
Twitter. So I
like
a lot of
didn't.
people were like, does she wash her hair? Like, why is her hair always so messy? Like, this and why is her hair always so messy? Like, why, like my makeup and like all of that. And like, remember at that time, Jordan was 1. So you don't like, I didn't have time when I was shooting in the morning to go and like go to like get my hair and whatever. I was literally like making breakfast in the morning, sorting Jordan out, breastfeeding her, like doing all of that, and then coming to set. And then, I would like literally come to set and leave. Like there was even comments about like, why didn't she bring a bag? I would literally come to shoot and walk out sometimes. Like that's how it was. And then so I felt like that was like very funny because I got that a lot. Like a lot of people were like, oh my God, her hair. Like a lot of people were saying that. And I got some like comments that were okay. The weirdest comment for me was like somebody told me like get on a ship and go back to India. Like,
What?
yeah.
No, are
No,
you
I
serious?
swear. It was like a few. They were like, get on, like, get on a ship and go back to India. Like, that was like crazy. They were like, yeah, like that was one. And then I think a lot of people were like, I'm such a mean person. Like, everyone was like, oh my gosh, she's the meanest person. And, I think it was fine because sometimes, when you do a show like the show that we did, then you do accept everything that comes with it. Like, that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And especially like me on the show, like, I was always in combat on the show. Like, that, like my stuff was already, like they say production writes a script, but in my case, it was a script written by other people privately, and I didn't know anything about it until obviously like after the show. But as far as that goes, it was like I was always in combat. Like, I could never just come and like be myself or like come and be nice or anything like that. I was just like, why are you asking me those questions? Like, and if you ask me a question like, do you like this person? I will say no, I don't. Like, because I don't.
That
like,
was your honest
it's
truth.
just it was just I don't like. So it wasn't like I
Yeah.
was trying to be mean or anything like that.
You
But
were
I
answering
think
a question.
I was answering a question, but at the same time, it is what it is. But the negative comments, like, I think if we were to go through them, some of them I found were like really funny. They were like really funny, and like sometimes I laughed at them, but I think what when you get onto a show like this, that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And like, so you're like mindful of it, that it is going to happen.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to like, obviously, and this, that when it comes to like your family and like the people that you love, they didn't sign up for it.
Exactly.
So that's what you will take personally. Like, you'll be
Yes.
like,
come for me, it's okay. Leave my children
yeah,
alone.
like,
Leave my husband alone.
yes,
Leave
like,
them out of this.
what do they have to do with the show?
Exactly.
Like, what do they have to do? So I felt like that was definitely something. And like, when your family see the negative comments, what do your family think about it?
So in terms of,
Yeah.
you mentioned Twitter, I'm on Twitter, but I don't go on it. Like,
Yeah.
I think my name is there.
Twitter's like
Do
a
you
can of
subscribe to
worms.
something?
Yeah.
Listen to this. Wait, listen to. I asked somebody, what does X mean? Because I didn't know. And they
Oh
were like,
yes,
don't
yeah.
ask such
Twitter's
questions.
no
It
longer
means X.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
not.
know that.
It's not Twitter anymore. It's X.
I didn't
like,
know that.
I also didn't know
So
that at a point.
I don't. I was never on Twitter. I didn't go and look. And then my family like had my back. They would look at certain things, but we were not overly engrossed
Yes.
on what social media had to say, because, as I said, we were a family before we started filming. We were a family during filming, and we were a family after filming. And we know who we are as a family as well. But
Yeah.
obviously, where they do see things that slightly affect you, or you're feeling down in a certain way, or they had my back, and they would say, Mom, but you know the truth, you know better. And they would have me. My husband would do the same.
Yes,
and there were things
yes.
that we were joyous about. They would also celebrate with me. So that was
Yes.
lovely.
Yeah.
Can I touch on something you said just now? You said something about our show not being a scripted show, but it being scripted on our behalf by certain people. So
Yeah.
that's such an important thing to bring clarity on, is because
Yeah.
our show was
It was-
not a scripted show.
it
We had an
wasn't.
amazing
Yeah.
production
And they were
team.
good to us.
They were so
Yeah, they were
amazing.
good to
Really, really, they
us,
were
yeah.
amazing. It was. People often have asked, is the show scripted? No, the show is absolutely not scripted. But I did mention this, I think in one of my diary sessions, where I said I can't quite remember the question that I was asked and how it was phrased to me, but I know my response to that was, I just had an issue in the show being scripted when it's meant to be unscripted. And when I meant that, I meant other cast members that would perhaps try and create a certain narrative, or try and create a script to a show which is supposed to be
Organic.
unscripted and
Organic
authentic and
and, like,
organic, and so
to solidify certain like very bizarre things, and
certain
then get it
narratives.
thrown out there and everyone to agree and like act
Exactly.
like that actually is like everyone is really feeling that in the moment, and that's not the
Exactly.
truth, was wild. But I think we found that out afterwards, and that was
Yeah,
like very, it was shocking. Well, it was shocking to me most especially,
yeah,
but that
yeah.
is, the truth. And I would like to add as well that being on a show like this, like, we want a successful show. So,
Absolutely.
at times, like, you were not, but I was very dramatic at times. Like I was very dramatic at times. And I think that, like, I not in your situation. That was different, like with us, like our
Mm,
thing. But I'm saying, like, like that whole, like, other scenes and things like that. Like, it was like, I brought the drama, like I brought that spice, and like that was what I brought sometimes, because, like, I don't know, otherwise it was just gonna be what, like,
but I think
yeah.
it was going to come anyway, in my opinion. I think it would come
Yeah.
anyway. You've got how many of us were there? 8, 9, 10, 10 women in a space, like just filming away and away. People's personalities, true personalities, were starting to come through eventually. And you get to see it. Being authentic and being true is so important, because you can't play different characters all the time. You can't sustain different characters all the time.
Mm.
But if you are you
You
consistently,
can, like,
you
when
can just
you,
be you.
I think though, like, it's easy to do that when you can, like, deflect constantly on a person. Like, always deflect, like, make one person the topic of conversation, so that you are not in any way, like, make this one person, like, okay, today it is her, tomorrow it
Yeah.
is her, like,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So you can do that, you can totally do that, and like we've seen it happen. But I mean, for me, even, I think on social media, like you've seen, I've been silent, like, for a long time. Like, I
Mm.
was just silent. Like, I didn't say anything. I didn't clap back. Like, I didn't make TikTok saying, like, um, a lot of, like, I think a lot of the other cast members, like, some of them would, like, they would see negative comments, and then they would go on to, like, a platform and be like, no, that's not the case. Like, this. But, like, I didn't do that, because I felt like even then people that didn't like me were very entitled to not like me. Like, people that like me are very entitled to like me. Like, some people will love you and some people will not like you, but they're entitled to do that, because they're, like, we were on a show, like, they're entitled to do that. So I think, as you said, like, in your experience with the show, like, it came with a lot of positives and a lot of negatives. But would you say that you would do another season if there is one?
I would
Yeah.
absolutely do another season. But again, one's got to just go out there being authentically themselves and be true to what it is that you want to put out. If you react to a situation, authentically react to the situation like how you would. For me, you should you should forget that there are cameras following you around and filming you. You must be engrossed in the conversation, like have real conversation.
Yeah.
Forget about the cameras that are there in the background, and fully engage with the person or the people that are in your space. So I think there's so much positive that this show still has to bring. There's so much.
Yes.
We need to speak about business more. We need to start
Yes.
speaking about our
Yes.
upcoming businesses, the things that we're launching.
Yes.
You're going to be doing your candles. My bags and accessory line are going to be launched soon. So those are things that we need to be discussing. I mean,
Yes.
you can be asking me questions. I can be asking you questions. Whom are you going to try and assist you with this? Who are you using? We can plug off each other. We can
Yes.
assist each other and
Yes.
support each other in the true sense of the word. So the
But
show has got so
that's
much
also
still.
something I really wanted to ask you. Okay. Is that, in my opinion, well, let me not start with my opinion. Let me ask you, like, do you think that the word women empowerment is thrown around for self gain? Or do you think that, like, women are the first to actually destroy and tear each other down? Do you think women actually, you put a group of women together, and do you think that women actually support each other? Like, we've seen it firsthand in our show, but what is your opinion on that?
So, with regards to the phrase or the term woman empowerment, I personally feel it's overused.
Yeah.
to a point where I feel like it's lost its true essence. I prefer speaking about woman advancement or
Yeah.
woman upliftment or woman support. Um, Empowerment is too broad. Empower doing what? So let's advance women. Let's support women. Let's uplift women. I'm fortunate I've been on both sides of the scale where I haven't had the support of
Yeah.
women, but I've also been on the other side where I've had the most incredible support from women. I think it's just about the surroundings that you're in, the environment that you're in. You need to know whom to speak to sometimes and who to say certain things to. Sometimes advice given to you may not always be the best advice or where it's coming from. You've just got to be you've got to be wary. You've got to be careful about who you let into your space and who you confide in and speak about. But I'm still that person that believes very much that women should be and can be supporting each other. I still believe in that we really can hold each other's hands and we really can, have each other's backs. And I always say the pie is so huge. There's enough in that pie that there's a slice for everybody. We don't have to take the entire pie and leave just scraps for everybody else. We can divide that pie and each of us can have a slice. And wouldn't that be amazing for everybody to gain some of that pie, for everybody to do well, not just to see one person doing well, but take that person along with you or expose the person to something. If you know it's not your field, expose the person that it is the field that it's speaking to, expose them to that. But my husband always says, collaboration is better than competition. He always preaches that collaboration is everything. It's more fulfilling. It's more rewarding for you as a human being. So I believe in collaboration. Rather than competition. So in the near future, we're going to be seeing Lenore and Christina brand come together. Who knows? There may be something that we do
There's
together,
so many
girlfriends.
things, but I genuinely feel like, it's good to see, and that's why I have created even a podcast where we can have women that actually want to empower. It's not just about like glorifying myself, like, okay, I gave somebody a burger today, like, or let me not use that as an example, but I'm saying like, let me take a picture of myself doing this today, like this nice thing today, and like put it out there, and I'm empowering people, like actual, like they are, like you said, actual women that they do go out of their way to reach out and to mention people in rooms where there are opportunity, mention women in rooms where there are opportunity, and some would not. They would absolutely not, because they don't want that competition. And I feel like women are the first, like I will always stand on this opinion, like women and the female community are the first to tear each other down. If they can destroy each other, they will do it. Like they're the first to tear each other down. You will very rarely get a group of women who, unless you know them for a very long time, because like you, I have a group of friends that I know like since I was a kid, and like, we know each other so well, and like, you have that tribe. But it's very rarely that you will see women actually uplifting each other. Like you will see women actively tearing each other down and like hurting and like lying and like perpetuating bizarre things, and then you'll get everybody, like it's either they're silent encouraging it, or they're just like, they just
sit back, not going to get involved. It's got nothing to do with me. Instead of stopping,
or not even stopping, but just like creating that, like there's spaces. And I'm glad that like we can show that there are women, and I would like to do that, women and even men, that
let's not leave the men out.
yes, like
Absolutely.
just empowerment in general. But I'm saying like women and men that are actually like that and can actually push people forward, especially people who need it.
Yeah.
There are people who need it. And as much as there are those who tear down, and they have this thing of, fame is very important to a lot of people, like fame and what other people think of them. And integrity doesn't mean much. you know, like
It should be the other
personal
way around, eh? Where integrity
integrity.
means
Yeah.
everything.
So I think that I would love to bring light to the fact that, hey, there are certain people who offer the help to others. Like they go into the rural areas. Like I personally, like, you know, I won't discuss in depth, but like we both come from a certain background where, like, you know, we were involved very deeply into, like, you know, going into the rural areas, being with people who, like, empowering those people, helping those people, being involved in those initiatives that no one will see and no one will know.
Yeah.
But it's just that sometimes, you know, people need to know, and I would like our viewers to know, if anything, that there is hope out there, and there is spaces, safe spaces and safe people that you can reach out to, that, you know, you can not only aspire to be like, but they are also like approachable in that way. They've created those spaces, like they go
Absolutely.
out and they reach those people. And I feel like if we can do that and more people can do that, then people will know that it's not just everyone that wants to hurt and destroy.
Absolutely.
It's not just everyone that wants to hurt and destroy. And, you know, let us show the real us.
Absolutely. If I can just say, well, here we are, we're sitting in a safe space. You've created this platform where you're bringing in women, and I'm sure you'll have a variety of guests in the future, where you're creating that space where we have conversations about everything and anything, to be our authentic selves, to uplift, to just have those conversations where, I mean, for example, I'm able to bring my bag today, and I'm able to say, this is what I'm doing. It's a space that you've created. You must be able to bring your product and showcase, and this is what I'm doing. Your next guests and guests in the future.
Yes.
But not just that, just having conversations about what it is that people are going through, their day-to-day lives, their wins and their struggles, you know, just being bold and audacious and daring to just have the discussions that nobody wants to have. So I applaud you for that. I applaud you for this chapter that you're beginning. And I know that it's coming from such an amazing space. I know that it's coming from your heart. And I think you're going to touch so many people's lives. You have already. You have already. So I think you're going to touch so many more people's
In a
lives.
different way, and like, you know, in a different way, in a way that is really
Absolutely.
just me, you know, nothing that
Absolutely.
is controlled or anything, but just really just me. And on that, what advice do you have for women that aspire to go into business the way that you have? And
Um, again, you know, just you have an idea, you have a concept. Definitely don't doubt yourself. I say that again, definitely don't doubt yourself. But it is also so important to get more knowledge, to get more education about what it is that you're going to. Surround yourself with the correct people. Like for myself, I'm not strong with social media. I'm not strong with marketing with that. That's not my expertise. I'm a creative person. So I can put
yes,
that's
yeah,
my expertise. I'm very good with the creative side.
yes.
But
And
don't
this is
ask me.
beautiful.
Oh, thank
So
you.
tell me
Thank
more
you. I
about this.
appreciate
Tell me
that.
more about this bag, and like, how did it come about? Like, how did this, like, this is a luxury bag.
So, babe, this is
So
this is the bag that I feel everybody can just look amazing and,
yeah,
you know, feel fabulous in. The string is a piece of jewelry in itself. So if you don't have a neck piece
yes,
on, you can use it as a crossover
yeah,
and you've got your bedazzled bag or your jewelry already. But for me, there's a story behind everything. So my orthopedic has told me for the longest time, Lenore, you need to stop carrying those big bags of yours because you're damaging your shoulders. They're already problematic and you're putting damage on them. But I'm not a person that like likes small bags, or there's nothing that I've really wanted to carry around that's small. So I was like, okay, create your own. What would the bag
yes,
look like? If you want
yes,
something, what would it look like? Can it still fit a phone in it? Can it still fit a powder puff? Can it fit a lip gloss, a pen, the essentials? So it's there. I've created it with the design that I'm comfortable, that I like, but it's style redefined. The brand Lenore is style redefined. There's a story behind every piece that I have. So it's stylish, it's comfortable. I want a person to feel their very best when they're wearing something of mine, but it's a timeless piece. If you
It is
have this bag, you
yeah.
should be able to wear it with any outfit,
Mm.
accessorize it with any outfit. So it must be that one piece that, yes, you spend a bit of money on it, but it's something that you'll be able to wear with everything. But most importantly,
Yes.
there's a story behind every single piece that
Yes.
I've created. It's not just a bag because I wanted to create a bag.
Mm.
A lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of thought process went into each piece
Yeah.
that I created. And I would say to people going into business is surround yourself with the correct team. It's not a one man show. Know
Yeah.
what your strengths are and work with your strengths, but where you're not an expert in, bring in those experts as part of your team, because once you've got a team that is experts in the various field, oh my gosh, it's just a well-oiled machine. Yeah. And it'll flow smoothly. Previously, I wanted to do everything on my own. It's not for me, for myself. It didn't work. It didn't work when I wanted to do something back in the day, and then the injury happened and it stopped. So now where I am at the moment, I'm bringing the correct people on board because I know I can't do everything myself. I'm not an expert at everything. That's why people study different fields. Don't be collaboration. It goes back to collaboration. Bring in the necessary experts that you need to make your product a success. That's the advice that I would give them.
Okay, I love that. Lenore, thank you so much for sitting down with me and chatting. We had the most amazing time together.
Babe.
And I just wanted to say that, you know what? As time goes by, you know, you will still continue to inspire and touch everyone around you. And I hope that you never stop. And I hope that nothing discourages you. And I love you to bits. I wanted you to absolutely be here just to share your story and to share yourself with your fans, like the people that absolutely love you. And thank you everyone for tuning into my podcast, episode 1. I appreciate you guys and I can't wait to see you guys again. Maybe there will be a part 2, who knows?
Yay!
And I mean, what do you have to say?
I just want to say thank you to you so much for having me. You know I love and adore you. Like I love you from here. You have a space in my heart and I'm so proud of you. I can say that over and over again. I'm truly, truly proud of you. You are an inspiration to so many as well. And yeah, it's just going to be bigger and better for you as well. I wish you everything of the best. I pray abundance and I pray just, God's hand of protection over what it is that you're doing. I know it's coming from a good place and I can't wait for everyone, for all the viewers to see what it is that you're doing. So I'm incredibly, incredibly proud of you. And yes, maybe there'll be a part 2. Who knows? And just thank you so much from the word go.
Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to correct, you've always pronounced my name incorrectly. I kept quiet about it many of the times, but my name is Lenore and not Lenore. So
Wait, I always said Lenore.
no, you always called me Lenore. So
Yeah. Oh,
guys,
wait,
just
Dave
putting it
done
out,
it. No,
just
guys.
putting it out there. My
Yeah,
name's
she's
not Lenore.
She's
It's
not Lenore.
Lenore.
Yeah, I don't. She's not
Not
Lenore. Yeah,
Lenore.
it's Lenore, guys.
Love you and thank you for
Oh
having
my
me, babe.
gosh. I love this so much. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to Rooted and Grounded podcast.